Today's video is going to be a full tour of all of our aquariums. Cichlid Bros is made up of 3 brothers with a shared passion of the aquarium hobby. We're going to start with a tour of my basement aquariums with my 2 display tanks and then my fish room. I have a total of 7 aquariums. And then we're going to go over to Quinn's classroom where he has 6 big aquariums. And then lastly, we're going to finish the video over in Alex's basement where he has another 7 aquariums. You might be asking yourself, you have 20 aquariums? Are you serious?
Yeah.
But anyway, looking forward to this one, so let's dive right in. So I'm going to start here with my 2 display tanks, my 180 and my 150, before we head into my fish room. So we'll start here with the 180. This tank has been up and running for a little over 2 years now. These are all South American cichlids along with a bala shark. But front and center is always my big tiger Oscar Nessie. And then I have 4 Severums in here. I have an electric blue Acara. I have 7 Geophagus topos, which, fun fact, they were just given a new scientific name. They are now the Geophagus pyrocephalus, which literally translates into Eartheater firehead.
Yes, science!
So at some point people will stop calling these guys redhead topos. I also have a beautiful chocolate cichlid in here. I have a Geophagus steindachnerai, a Satanoperca giripari, and a black Acara. Overall, this tank is doing great. These cichlids really do get along. I've had most of them for around 4 years now. However, the Oscar is only about 2 years old. The tank runs on 2 canister filters, a Fluval Aquasky Light, a Cichlid Wave Maker, and a couple heaters from Fluval as well. Alright, so then moving on to my 150 gallon tank. This is one of my newer tanks. This is a custom aquarium, and I just love the fish and the stocking I have in here. So 2 questions I get asked the most about this tank is first, the lighting. Those are AI Prime 16s, and they do a great job, especially if you're looking for a more high-tech planted setup. And then the other question I get asked all the time is, what is that fish right there? That is an Apistogramma McMasteri, which surprisingly does really well with some of these bigger, more peaceful cichlids. I would not recommend it to a beginner or to other people that have bigger, more aggressive cichlids, but they do get along pretty nicely with these guys. I also have 2 angelfish, 5 electric blue Acara, and 6 Geophagus spini. The spini are already showstoppers and they still have a few more inches to grow, so I can't wait until they reach that full maturity. I also have an albino heckelei, which is really starting to look great. And then I have a school of 7 denizen barbs, which really provide great activity to this tank. This tank also has a variety of live plants, mostly Anubias, and I definitely want to add more in the future to make this just a completely planted tank full of live plants and activity. This tank's filter is a seamless sump from Custom Aquariums, which I love and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. But those are the 2 big display tanks. Let's go this way into my fish room, which I haven't shown much of lately. But here I have 2 tanks on the double rack along with a 75 gallon, a tank underneath it and on the side, which I'll turn on the lights in just a second. But starting over here on the left, this is my 33 gallon Fluval Flex. This tank has African shell dwellers from Lake Tanganyika. These guys are thriving and they're breeding like crazy. There's so many baby fish in this tank. In total, there's probably over 50 African shell dwellers when you count all the babies in the shells. One thing that's a bit of a challenge with shell dwellers is making your tank look nice because they completely destroy the scape and they pile up sand, as you can see on the front of my panel here. I actually have to get up close to the tank and look down into it to actually see some of them. And because of the Fluval Flex having the curved front panel, it actually allows them to pile up the sand a little bit more than I would like. So that's just something I would keep in mind if you're trying to do this exact setup with shell dwellers. Overall, a fun, unique tank to watch. I do want to add some more live plants and kind of get the algae under control as well, so more to come on a full update on this tank pretty soon. And then down below is a 40 gallon breeder, which is a very unique tank setup because it is a cold water aquarium. There's no heater in here. All these fish are from the Uruguay and Paraguay area. They don't have the tropical temperatures all year round like the majority of tropical fish. But I have 7 Geophagus terrapurpura in here, which are still young, but they're starting to get some color and putting on some size. I can't wait to show them more when they reach their full maturity. I also have a school of 8 panda cories, and I have a school of 10 greenfire tetras, and they're all doing really well. The temperature of this tank right now is at 73 degrees, but during the winter it'll get as low as 67 degrees or around that. This is another tank I want to add more live plants. Right now I have some Anubias, and also I'm battling a bit of black hair algae in this tank, so I'm gonna get that under control and show an update on this tank pretty soon as well. Okay, so next over here is my 75-gallon Peacock Cichlid tank. These are all males, and some of them are already showing some really great color. They're around that 4.5 inch mark now, and I'm really starting to get excited about the tank and some of the different colors that's starting to pop. The red shoulder peacock is definitely the tank boss. At times he's a little too aggressive, but the Nagara Flametail is my favorite Peacock Cichlid, and it is also looking great. One of my other favorites is the Lemon Jake. It's starting to color up nicely, putting on some really nice yellow with some blue. Been dealing with some aggression in this tank, but overall it's not been too bad. As you can see, the scape is a pretty minimalist scape here, as Peacock Cichlids really need more open water swimming space versus territories that you would provide for some of your Mbuna or American cichlids. But a really cool tank, very different than my other tanks, and I'm looking forward to seeing the evolution over time here. And then down below is my 10-gallon Growout tank for my electric Blue Acara babies. These guys have really put on some size lately with the growth spurt over the last few weeks. They are definitely needing an upgraded tank, and I'm going to give them one very soon. So keep an eye out for an update there. There's a lot of babies that have made it. These were bred in my 150-gallon tank. I scooped out the babies and I've grown them out in here. And then my last tank here is a 20-gallon, which is currently being used as a quarantine tank. It's been repurposed many different times, but I'm actually going to be updating the fish room in general with some big updates. I hope you enjoyed seeing my aquariums. Now we're going to kick it over to Quinn in his classroom.
Hey, what's up guys? Quinn here. So I'm in my classroom. I'm going to give you a tour of my 6 aquariums. All right, so starting off here with one of the new tanks in the classroom is the 90-gallon monster tank. You can see here we have a juvenile yellow jacket cichlid. Check out those teeth. This guy is already super colored up, even though he's not very big. He's got this whole 90-gallon tank to himself. He's gonna be quite large, so that's why he's in such a big tank. He has a lot of personality actually too. So for this tank, we just have a variety of different driftwood and rocks. For the substrate, we did go with a mixed substrate of sand and some different sized rocks. And because I can't use a canister, I just have a standard aqua clear. Next up, we have the other new tank, which is my assorted Mbuna. See, I just dropped some food in there, so I got them to come out. I do love these guys. They're just a great change of pace to my American cichlids, just because they're a lot more active. I do have some yellow labs in here. I have some acai and some Johanni. You can see I have kind of the cliff scape here with some dragonstone. They do love to hang back there, especially when my students are here. But overall, love the look of this tank. I do wish the original 90-gallon did not have a leak though. But future plans for this tank, you'll have to wait and see. All right, so next we have the original 75-gallon here. It's a black substrate. We do have 2 cichlids in here, including this Jack Dempsey cichlid. My favorite type of cichlid here. Is absolutely beautiful. It's from the same gene pool as my larger Jack Dempsey in the 110-gallon. In the back here, we do have the mouth brooding Severum. I do love the black substrate because it brings a lot of the colors out from the different types of American cichlids we have. Now for the 110-gallon, this is the big classroom tank. I did just drop some food in there. So you got the 4 silver dollars that you can see real fast. You got the green tear gold Psalm there. Joker has not been doing too great. You can see that his nuchal hump is really lessened and his fins have been nipped, and that is this guy. The firemouth has really seized control of this tank. It's highly active, beautiful fish. Unfortunately, the green tear has kind of lacked since. Even Jack has been a little colored down since the firemouth has really taken control. The convict over here typically likes to just hang out in the corner as you got this menace. There is a possibility that I might take the firemouth out of this tank just so the other fish can kind of color up more and have a more peaceful life. I do love how this firemouth looks. And I do have an FX6 on this tank It's the one area in my classroom that I can actually use a canister. All right, moving on to the smallest tank in the classroom is my 29-gallon community tank. It's just a real simple tank with some leftover fish from previous ones. I got some Odessa barbs there. I have some Harlequin rasboras that have been all over creation and me and Troy's tanks, and some neon tetras there. I do have some Amano shrimp. They keep this piece of driftwood looking spick and span. It's a really old tank. You can see it's got some stains in the back there, but it gives us these fish a good home, and I'm pretty happy with it. All right, last but not least is my Bear 55-gallon tank with Felix the Flowerhorn. You can see she's ready to be fed. Every time I get close to the tank, she is ready. So let me go get some food. All right, so one game I like to play with her is see if she can catch all the food before it reaches the bottom. I win.
Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that.
So Felix definitely has the most personality in my classroom, and you can see I have her set up right next to my desk. My students love her. They love that she comes up whenever you want to feed her, and she's been with us 3.5 years now, so she's pretty cool. Does not look like most flowerhorns that you see. She is probably a short-bodied flowerhorn, and I know she's a female because she has laid eggs, and that nuchal hump is not as large as males would typically get. All right, so that's it for my classroom. I'm gonna pass it over to Alec now.
Hey, what's up guys? Alec here. Welcome back to the new and improved basement fish room. We've had a lot of changes down here. Got a lot of updates to show you. I can't wait. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first and foremost, obviously the big new change is the 220-gallon custom aquariums tank here. We've got a 36-inch stand, 30-inch tank, plus a 10-inch canopy on top. I couldn't be happier with it. We did a whole video on the setup and scape of this tank with the Aqua Decor 3D background, so make sure you check that out in the link in the description below. As far as the fish, they are loving it. I actually added 2 new fish to this tank, a Nimbochromis venusis and a Taiwan reef. Get a little pop of yellow and some more blue in this tank. It's gonna look awesome. The things I love most about this tank is number 1, the height. I love that I can just stand here and watch the tank. It be eye level without me crouching down. Also, I just love the natural scape and the realistic look that the 3D background from Aqua Decor brings. And lastly, just the way the fish swim with that added extra space compared to the 125. They look so much more relaxed, they're more colored up, and it's just really relaxing to watch. As for some fish that are really doing well with this new tank, the Tyrannochromis nigerventure has grown already and colored up. The Chilotilapia euchylus, the Malawi thick lips, is looking fantastic. And also I would say the Malawi gar is looking fantastic as well and getting a lot bigger. So you can really tell. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to some of the new tanks that you haven't seen yet in the basement fish room. Come with me. All right, so here is new tank number 1. I haven't shown you guys these new tanks yet because they're kind of going through their early ugly phase with some algae going on and still got some cleaning and stocking to do. But originally the plan for this tank was a simple low-tech planted tank. I got some dwarf sage, I got some Java ferns in the back, aquascaped with some driftwood and lava rock. And the plan is to stock it with a bunch of chili rasboras and a bunch of clown killifish, 2 of my favorite nano fish. And they're also so small that a 20-gallon, you can really put a ton in there. So I'm looking forward to that. Still going through the ugly stages of the initial setup of the tank right now. So unfortunately, it's not looking great for the video, but I really like this scape and the setup. I like the sand, so I can't wait to show it to you guys when it's really up and running and looking good. So let's move on to the next new tank. And here we are. If you remember, this tank was a saltwater reef tank, and I talked about plans for switching it out. I went ahead and made the change, and as you can see, there is a ton of algae right now as I got a CO2 system hooked up, trying to grow some dwarf hair grass. I cannot get the algae under control yet. Hopefully I can very soon. It is looking a little bit better. Again, can't wait to get this tank really looking good and aquascaped nice and show you the end result. So now let's move on to the tanks you have seen before and get an update on those guys. All right, so here we have the Waterbox Clear Mini 10 with the Asta 20 light, tiny little hang on the back filter, and also a little protein skimmer to keep the surface a little bit more clear. If you remember, this is stocked with Taiwan bees, mainly black King Kongs and blue bolts. Also got some kind of red King Kong / crystal reds from my old Waterbox Clear Mini 10 that I replaced with one of my new 20 gallons. Really cool right now. They're all hiding. Got some babies in there. You can see running around once in a while, but right now they're all hiding. A really cool tank, nice small tank that it's kind of like my tank buddy as I sit down on the couch here. All right, moving on to the next tank. Getting smaller in size now. Down to my little bookshelf 3-gallon here. This is from Aquatop. Got a little light I got from Amazon, just a little clip light. This is Red Bloody Mary crystal, or not crystal reds, but cherry shrimp, just a variation of cherry shrimp. They are really dark. One bad thing about this is it's really hard to do maintenance on this tank, so I really have a hard time cleaning the glass because I can't really get in there because the shelf is so close to it. There's the Bloody Marys in there. I just really like how all of my little scapes are so different. You know, you got the lava rock and Java fern, you got the river stone and floating plants, you got the Amazon sword and subblaster tang, and then you got the dwarf hairgrass. So everything is different with these nano tanks in here. Speaking of which, it is my 1-gallon filterless tank, and it looks messy, and that's kind of by design. It does need a water change and a little bit of cleaning just to be more aesthetically pleasing. And inside it we have some carbon Rili shrimp. They like to hide a lot. They like to hide in the logs and in the back by the micro sword. Really hard to see with the, I rarely feed this tank. They just kind of eat the dead plant matter. So it's really a cool experiment for a tank. All right, so that's it for the basement fish room. Like I said, stay tuned to see those new tanks up and running, clean, fully stocked, and looking their best in the upcoming videos. Also, stay tuned for more big plans we have for new tanks on the channel coming up. So Troy, I'm gonna kick it back to you for the end of the video.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed seeing all 3 Cichlid Bros aquarium setups. Make sure to leave a comment down below what your favorite setup is between the 3 brothers, whether it's mine in my basement, Quinn's classroom, or Alex's basement. It should be fun to see which comment gets the most likes down below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.